welcome back to the 1313 podcast, the most mediocre podcast in the Star Wars universe. I'm Jacob.
I'm Jackson.
And I'm Tommy.
Jackson's back.
Jackson's
we missed
back.
Ya.
Stop!
We missed you, Jackson. Jackson, we missed you. Jackson, we missed you. Everybody, welcome Jackson back to the podcast.
I'm happy to be back. So sad I missed all the amazing news from last week, but I watched last week's episode that y'all did
That's good, dude.
to catch up on everything that I may have missed. And boy, with Celebration...
Like your trash opinion about young Leia being bad.
Nope, my opinion is still standing.
You really hate her?
Okay.
Wait, let's get our housekeeping done and then talk about this.
Before we begin this episode, make sure that you are subscribed to the 1313 podcast YouTube channel because at 500 subscribers, you get your choice of either Bad Batch
Rex
or 212th Walgreens exclusive.
Two.
Yeah. So you get your choice of this or this at 500 subscribers. And for our patrons, next month we will be giving away this Ahsoka figure.
If you join our Gungan Boss tier for only $13.13 a month, you will be automatically entered in a giveaway every single month.
Mm-hmm.
And on the first of every month, we do a live reveal for who in that tier wins the figure. So,
congratulations to Commander Bly, who won the Tarkovsky Grievous figure.
shout out Commander Bly.
He already has
Shout
that
out.
figure. He could show it off in the Discord if he so chooses. If not, oh well. But I think that is all. Make sure that you're in the Discord if you haven't already, and make sure that you are subscribed to the 1313 Podcast YouTube channel.
And we have an update on your shirt purchase.
Yes! So,
Shirts.
the shirts are definitely in production. I emailed our guy about it right when we got the cutoff last episode, and he just straight ghosted me for about a week until Memorial Day weekend. Then he finally emailed me back. So we're looking at
When this goes up.
When
Yes.
this goes up, the next day is when we should be getting the t-shirts in. That Tuesday, he said that we should be good to pick them up. That Tuesday and following Wednesday, we are going to start packing the shirts and getting them shipped out.
Yeah.
So you should be getting them shipped and your tracking number for that in an email later on.
Yeah.
So
Pretty much.
Thank you for your patience in this. We're not trying to be like Hasbro and keep you in limbo for as long as possible. We're trying to get these to you ASAP. And we might have some ways to fix some of these issues in the future. But more about that at a later date.
Yeah.
But
Anywho.
T-shirts.
mm-hmm.
Do we have anything,
do you have
Jackson?
a would you rather this week?
I had a question instead of like a
Let's
would you
hear it.
rather.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so a point that you both made on the podcast last week was Leia's interaction with that Alderaan political kid who everybody wants to strangle
cousin.
to death. Yes, her cousin.
Yeah, the one that definitely gets blown up.
Hopefully. But for that kid that you talked about, in the moment that Leia exposes his insecurities and his weakness,
That's the Force.
she's using the Force.
Yeah.
But my question was, do you actually believe it's the Force, or do you just
Yes.
believe it's her learning?
I believe it's the Force. There's no way that she can incite a dude's complete and utter insecurities and read his personality after meeting him only for the first time, and we already know that she's a Force sensitive.
Is she very smart for a 10-year-old? Yes. But she's also Force sensitive. So I think that is how they're showing that she's Force sensitive. And I just think it's funny that Obi-Wan hasn't picked up on it yet.
I'm going to kind of counter-argue that she isn't displaying Force sensitiveness. Yes, we understand that is something that she shows later. But I would argue that this is her cousin who, it was stated in the episode, she has met before.
Get a load of this fella.
This is just part of your intense hatred for Leia.
Yeah.
No, okay, do you want me to get into that?
Let's hear it.
No.
Let's hear it.
I don't actually hate Leia as much as you think I do. The first two episodes...
Jackson watched it with his girlfriend, and his girlfriend hates small children, and she said, I hate her, and Jackson said, uh-huh.
I hate her.
You're just sweet
I
as you right.
hate
She hates
her.
Leia as a character anyway, so she already hates her.
I was right.
No, but let me get into my opinion. And let me just state it before you keep interrupting me on this. I didn't like Leia in the first two episodes because I legitimately thought she was annoying. Yes, her whole aspect is to be the foil of Obi-Wan, and I feel like that was brought out much better in the third episode. And I'll say, after watching the third episode, she's grown on me. I really like young Leia a lot more. I just thought it was really annoying at first how she was very whiny and stuff, but she's a child and I have to accept that. But then in the third episode, I thought it was really heartfelt when they had the interaction where she kind of realized the truth that Obi-Wan knows who her actual mom is. And now she's actually more intent on listening to Obi-Wan and looking up to him as a person now. And how now Leia can kind of bring Obi-Wan out of his like rugged sadness and all this bias that he has. Like he can't be the good guy anymore. He has to do everything to protect Leia and Luke and whatnot. So I like her a whole lot more as a character now after episode 3 than I did the first 2. Wasn't a fan, but again, she's growing on me. So I'm fine with her now. I really have no quarrel.
Okay.
So, your
So
entire,
that was all I just wanted to say.
so your entire opinion wrapped around from going, I don't like her, but now I like her.
Well, yeah, I didn't want to lead in with that. I wanted to keep the mystery alive.
Well, happy Pride Month.
Who is this guy? Hey, happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride Month.
Anyways,
He actually got his Pride shirt on.
It's ducks. What?
It has more than one color on it.
Wah, wah,
We're getting away from this.
wah,
Anyway,
wah.
I have a little would you rather.
Okay.
Okay.
Who would you rather tick off in the
What do you
Star
mean?
Wars universe? Who would you rather pick a fight with? Who would you think you have had a better chance of surviving against? Darth Vader
Both.
or Darth Maul?
Both. Because I'm 6'4", 280.
Mm-hmm. Personally,
4%
if
body
that were
fat.
me, I wouldn't be taking that. Personally, if that were me, I wouldn't take that.
Who you going up in a? Who do you think you could win in a fight against, or at least survive?
Yes.
Darth Vader or Darth Maul?
Yes.
Neither, but if I had to choose,
Darth Maul or Darth Vader?
Yeah.
I don't know, bro. After watching this most recent episode of Kenobi, I think I'd rather take Darth Maul.
I agree.
Yeah,
After watching the most recent
I
episode,
agree. I'm like, well, the best you can do is you can punk out Darth Maul and he'll run away. Darth Vader, he's just gonna pick you up and say,
At least
hot
with Darth
coals.
Maul, I can just sweep the leg. But like this time around, I just can't. I have no options, because Darth Vader is absolutely terrifying in the latest episode
Yep.
of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
And are we just gonna straight up just go
I
straight
think we
into?
should just jump right in.
I think
Okay.
that's fine.
I know this is gonna make me sound like a bandwagon, but
Oh,
for the-
Jackson, you gotta hear this.
No, for the longest
no.
time,
Gotta-
for the longest time, I was always like, Darth Vader is just Darth Vader. Both of you guys, I hate both of you guys. This
Just let me cover
show,
my mouth.
I'm not laughing, bro. I'm just. I got a mask on.
Okay.
You know.
growing up, I liked Anakin a lot. For the Clone Wars,
That
my
is true.
favorite characters were Anakin and Cody. I thought Cody was cool because I liked that color and I liked his Vader. I thought Anakin was cool because he was a hothead.
valid.
Jackson was the
valid.
Rex and Obi-Wan guy.
Yep. That
So
is facts.
growing up, I was a huge fan of Anakin. I wasn't a fan of Darth Vader because the OT Darth Vader and Anakin had such a disconnect of character. It was like I just couldn't. I knew they were the same person, but I didn't see them as the same person.
Fair.
Darth Vader has elevated to the tier of Anakin for me now as a character that I like because Kenobi is branching that gap of Anakin and Vader, of them not seeming like two different characters. We're actually getting the emotion and brutality
That's
that
factual.
we know that was in Anakin, seeing it in Vader.
That's
So
factual.
I'm not here being like Vader is now my favorite character of all time, and this isn't another Moon Knight thing. You a-hole.
I'm gonna keep it a brick with
I'm
y'all.
just saying, Vader is now not like Vader's just Vader. Yeah. All the OT guys like him. Now I'm like, okay, I could see myself saying that, yes, I'm a fan of Darth Vader.
I'm gonna keep it a brick. Jacob's got a valid point. He really does. No, because I really agree with that. There is a definite disconnect between Anakin and Vader, obviously, in the way they act, because the movies were made at two different times. Kenobi is bridging the character of Anakin into Vader, so now you see his like actual aggression and like how upset Obi-Wan is about this whole ordeal. So I feel like it gives it that connection that we needed to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Which could make Vader a better character for some people. I mean, obviously, yeah, a lot of people.
It's
like
making him
first.
better for me. It's like he's actually
That's
like
fine.
he's decently like growing on me more now because Anakin was like a favorite, but then because Anakin was cool and I liked him, but I loved seeing the brutality in Maul. That's what elevated Maul up to being one of my favorite characters.
Yep.
But now that we're seeing Darth Vader going harder than Maul, I'm like, okay, Maul might get dethroned. I don't think he will, just because Maul was like, I loved his lightsaber. He's a childhood favorite of mine. But no, Darth Vader is pulling up. He's taking names, murdering civilians, snapping necks, dragging women by their brains, in the streets. He'd go hard in the paint. And it's nice to see this because we always knew that Vader was brutal in the comics.
Yes.
And then it's like, oh, if you read a book or you read a comic, you see how brutal Vader is. But now that we're actually seeing it visually, I love it. I absolutely love it.
Let me come in with my Star Wars narrative, right?
Okay.
Because for me, everything that happens in Star Wars has to like be purposeful.
Yes.
Like I like action and stuff in Star Wars, but if it's just action for the sake of action, I'm not as engaged with the storyline. Okay, because like the action is cool. You get what I mean? Like the action's cool in and of itself, but I also like for there to be a good narrative going alongside the action, right? With Vader, when he's standing in that street and he starts torturing those people, he's only doing that to get Obi-Wan to come out of hiding.
Yes.
Because he's walking down the street, Obi-Wan like makes a face, and then Vader stops. And he senses Obi-Wan. And it's only then that he starts to torture all those people. Because before that, he's just walking past everybody.
Yep.
And I love that he's using the Jedi code against Obi-Wan like that. He knows that no Jedi is going to just stand and watch innocent people get killed and tortured by a Sith Lord.
It's not the Jedi way.
No, so Obi-Wan comes out and tries to distract him, and it works, but I just... It takes something that everybody wants, and it fits it right into the story, right where it belongs.
Yes.
Perhaps we better start from the beginning.
Perhaps we better stop at the beginning.
All good stories start in the middle. I'm the one in the middle.
The Bendu. No, it's just because we've had 2 episodes of Kenobi, and now we've had our first episode of Vader.
Yes.
And I must say, I am so happy I got my Kenobi shirt on. You can check it, the back. Out in the Discord, I can't really turn around too well, but it's got Vader and Obi-Wan on it.
Yeah, you can see it. Just join the Discord.
Check out the Discord. Found this at FYE. If you want to grab it, it's at FYE.
I might get one.
It's so cool.
We should
It's a nice shirt.
triple this.
So the episode opens up right where we left off in the last episode. Obi-Wan is meditating. He's trying to reach out to Qui-Gon, and he's trying to be at peace. But we see all, just like before, all the inner turmoil. And I think that that's why Obi-Wan can't connect with Qui-Gon, because he's unhappy with himself and his past deeds and the things that have gone wrong in the past. He's not over it. He's not at peace. So we hear Anakin a lot more than we did before. We hear some Qui-Gon in there. We hear some Yoda in there as well. Yoda says only what you take with you, which I think is hinting too that Obi-Wan can't...
No, I thought it was the only pain you will find.
It is, yeah, that's true, yeah.
From like when he looks at the...
Yeah.
Only pain.
And I think that is also hinting at the fact that Obi-Wan's not at peace with himself. And then as this is happening, you get this nice sequence of Vader getting put together after being suspended in the Bacta.
That was really, really awesome. I feel like it gives us that meaningful lore too of like, how did he get in his suit in the first place? How does that all like fit together and work? Because we could only guess so much. And I love how like the makeup is so well done that he's just so grotesque and disgusting.
It's still pretty, the scars are still a lot fresher. He honestly looks like Deadpool.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it was a good sequence. And I like that when that sequence ends, we go right to Vader on Mustafar. A nice little pan over shot of the castle.
Because it was the scene as well, if I'm correct, where when Obi-Wan and Anakin are fighting like on that gigantic structure that's like falling, it's that area of the lava pool, and then it pans up to Vader's castle, which I thought was a very good detail.
I didn't notice that, but...
Yeah, because they showed us a scene on Mustafar that we had seen in Revenge of the Sith. So when it came on, I was like, oh, another flashback? And then it panned up to the castle.
It's not that. The castle sits above the waterfall that the thing fell.
Yes.
It's
okay,
the
you're
same
right.
shot that we see in Rogue One when
You're right.
Vader's castle is
Got
first
it, got
introduced.
it.
That's why it's familiar.
Pardon.
Because it's the same shot.
Fat check.
I got to say, though, Vader on his throne, I think the CG for that looked really bad.
That was CG.
I didn't notice or care, to be honest.
Was the
with you.
voice different? Because I thought I saw someone on
It's
social
James
media
Earl Jones.
That's what I thought. It was James Earl
And
Jones' voice.
It is every single syllable of every single word that James Earl Jones says
Perfectly
is
enunciated.
perfect.
Oh.
And it is just it makes the character perfect to me. And the way Hayden works in that suit, dude. He just belongs in the Darth Vader suit.
I thought that shot looked a bit wonky. That was like the one thing that I saw and it pulled me out for a second.
What about it?
Maybe
Maybe it's that the room is so plain.
I think it's the fact that the room is plain
and it's a gray on like a red background.
No,
maybe?
it's gray reflective. It doesn't look right to me. I don't know. That might just be a me thing where it just kind of looked off when I was watching.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I've seen the episode 4 times and I didn't notice that any of the times.
I need to watch
watched
it again after
It's
this.
probably just a
I'm
me
getting
thing.
too
But
hyped.
Darth Vader starts talking. He's sitting at his throne. He's talking to Reva, and he basically
This
tells
what you want.
It's still like eluding. They haven't said the Grand Inquisitor is dead, and what I think is going to happen
isn't.
now. For those who don't know, Grand Inquisitor is a Powan, is the name of his species. They're
And they
native
have-
to Utapau.
Yes.
And they have 2 stomachs.
Yes.
So the theory is right now is that he got stabbed in one stomach. He can't ingest as much. He gets really skinny, and that's how he looks in Rebels.
More so,
Dun-dun-dun.
more importantly though, is that he's not actually dead. I think that the Grand Inquisitor was left for dead on Dayu, and he's going to come back. I think, and I still think, I may have said this last week too, I think the Grand Inquisitor is going to kill Reva. I think that we
I
all think
agree.
Vader's going to kill Reva, but I think the Grand Inquisitor is going to kill
We're probably
Reva.
gonna get. Oh, what if we get another dual big lightsaber fight at the very end of this series? Obi-Wan versus Vader, and then to do another side, we get Reva versus the Grand Inquisitor, like Sidious versus
Or
Yoda.
what if, plot twist, Obi-Wan and Reva have to work together to fight off the Inquisitors and Vader at the same time, and Reva
That-
loses her life
possible.
because of it?
I don't know.
That'd be pretty dope.
Save the dream.
Because I think Reva is kind of like Kylo Ren. She's not fully dark. Because there's a scene later I want to talk about where she sees that Jedi symbol etched into that little safe room.
And
And there's a moment that she has there. Yeah, and she gets...
See, what I thought was interesting as well, that the numbering system for the Inquisitors doesn't mean rank. Okay, and here's the other thing as well.
They're
I
not
might be
Hashira.
crazy for this, so please correct me because I might be wrong. Is fifth brother
You're wrong.
Wong from Doctor
No.
Strange?
No.
It isn't
No.
him.
You're not the first person I've heard make that
That's what I
conclusion.
thought that's
though.
who it was. I was like, yo, that's like a really cool translation of characters.
No, you're not the first person I've heard say that, though.
Oh, okay, never
No.
mind. I really thought it was him.
No, it's not him. I don't remember the actor's name. But,
But he's really good.
yeah, a lot of people like the fifth brother.
I
won't
really
lie.
like the fifth brother. He's so cool.
I like him a lot more than I liked him in Rebels.
Umbrella Hat Man.
I didn't care for him in Rebels too much.
Yeah.
He was just kind of a bumbling idiot in Rebels.
I agree, but in the live action,
But hey, so we get that scene with Reva and Vader, and then we get a scene of Reva going to the Inquisitorius, which is the first time we see
Yes.
that in live action.
Yes, the
That
first time we
was
saw that was
so
in Jedi Fallen
cool.
Order.
Yeah, and so we see her going on to... I was looking for the Purge Troopers. I couldn't see the Purge Troopers
We
in the
don't see them
background
yet.
anywhere.
aren't we supposed
Um,
to see a Generation 1 Purge Trooper? That's what's in the new
This is
Disney
Generation
thing?
2 Purge Troopers.
Oh.
Because they've
This-
done away with the clone armor now.
Yeah, this happens after Jedi Fallen Order.
But what about when we see them in Rogue One?
They're not... Those are
Oh,
Death
no, no,
Troopers.
no, no,
Death
no.
Troopers.
Sorry.
Yeah.
My bad.
No, you're good.
silly boy.
If you look in the beginning of... You know how they do that cool little Lucasfilm, like where all the helmets reflect in red
Yes,
and blue?
that's what I was
Second
talking
or
The
about.
Death Trooper helmet is in there. My father and I were watching it together. We thought it was Hunter's helmet at first, but then Crimson Dawn Collectibles on Instagram, shout out to him. He posted a T-shirt that had the new Death Trooper helmet on a T-shirt, and if you look, it's the same helmet.
See, I'm just a smarty pants. I noticed it.
So
the
that's a
first time.
Death Trooper?
Yes.
So
No, that's a purge.
No, that's a
trooper.
Purge Trooper.
Okay, you keep saying Death and Purge. That was confusing.
It's a second. It's like a Phase 2 Purge Trooper, basically.
Okay.
Because at this point, the Empire makes sense. They've completely done away with clone armor
Yes.
And
altogether.
clone troopers.
Yeah.
There's some change. I thought that was really cool.
credits. Which they are practical clones. They are practical.
Yeah. Practical armor, which is nice.
But we get the scene with Reva where she goes into the meeting room of the Inquisitorius, and the fifth brother and the fourth sister are
Banana Girl.
hanging out there.
Mhm.
Jacob's favorite Inquisitor.
Banana
And
That's good.
I thought it was really cool in the background. You could see all these gigantic fish swimming
Yes.
around in the ocean around them. I thought that was cool.
Another thing that looked a bit wrong to me in the episode. Okay, you know when Banana Girl? It's right after.
Banana Girl?
It's the other fourth sister.
Fourth sister equals Banana Girl.
Yeah, fourth sister is Banana Girl. So
Oh.
it's right after they send out the probes. The probes find Obi-Wan, and then like they come back and they're trying to make their plan. When she comes in the frame and she starts saying what the plan is,
Is it me or it doesn't look like her lips are saying what she's actually saying? And
I know. Actually, I noticed that on my fourth watch through.
I've watched it 3
It's
times.
slightly off to what she's actually like. Her mouth moving is slightly off to
What's coming out?
the sound.
Yeah. Every time I watched it, I was like, it looks.
It's like watching
weird.
an early episode of the 1313 podcast.
It's like, yeah, guys, how are you?
I did notice that though.
Okay, I thought it was crazy.
I think maybe that's because they were trying to. The shot is awesome.
it's
like
probably because the shot
she's
was
talking,
good, but
the fifth brother's on
Yeah.
the left, like looking back, and then in the center of the Grand Inquisitor's chair in the gap, you can see Riva walking down the corridor.
Mhm.
Yes.
And I think it's probably the shot was so good and they couldn't get everybody there to do a retake for the line, and like the delivery wasn't what they wanted, so they just did her do a voiceover.
Also, if
fine.
you look in the back of that room, there is a youngling helmet and
Oh.
Jedi lightsaber hilts lined on shelves on the outside of the room. So that's either got to be Jedi that they've killed,
Or theirs.
or it's got to be theirs from when they were Jedi. Because
Whoa.
Riva was a youngling, and there's only one youngling helmet that I saw.
Mhm.
So
Interesting.
if you look in the back of that scene, both the scenes that has that room, they're in there.
Can we talk about the fact that we saw when Obi-Wan and Leia first get on that planet, and Obi-Wan has like that hallucination of Anakin standing there?
Yes. The
That
Dude,
was
you can
cool.
tell he's tripping. He
I
is blown away.
I
Yep.
love that shot because it's just like it starts out normal and it just gets a little bit off kilter. So it's just something's wrong. So you can tell something's wrong with Obi-Wan, and then it just cuts to it, and
This-
it's like Voldemort.
This episode shows that Star Wars could do horror.
yeah.
And because Darth Vader is scary in this
Mhm.
episode.
There's an interview with Ewan, and he was talking about how I'm pretty sure it was the shot that we just saw, like when he is walking in that sand area, and then Darth Vader surprises him from behind. He was like, there was one moment where I turned around and he was there, all 6 foot and towering, and I had a moment of genuine fear, and I've never had that in filming anything, but I was legitimately scared for my life, and I was like, ah! Like,
It's so scary.
yeah, like, dude, I feel like if I just saw looming over me, I'd
Yeah.
be like,
So
Okay.
the Inquisitors figure out there's a little bit of infighting between the fifth brother and Riva
Mhm.
about who's going to be the next Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah.
She is like basically flexing that she got to talk to Vader, and Vader wants her to lead the charge on finding Obi-Wan. They decide that there's only a few planets that freighter could have gone to, and they send out some Imperial probes, which I thought that little factory sequence was cool because the same machine sounds are from the
Episode
Geonosis
2.
factory.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. That
Yeah.
was
mhm.
And that was cool to see. But they send out the probes, and then we get Obi-Wan and Leia go down. We get that little scene. Obi-Wan explains a little bit about the Empire and what the Empire has done
Mhm.
to the galaxy. And Leia, Leia's grown up with the Empire. She's only ever known the Empire.
Mhm.
And then they're talking a bit, and then they get to Haja's coordinates,
Mhm.
and
Haj is
No
one of
one's
my
there.
favorite.
no one's
If
there.
I can just say this,
Yeah.
shout out Mole Man. I love the Mole
Freck?
guy. He is so funny. I mean, like, yeah, screw him for being a traitor and then just like
Nothing
getting
wrong
what he
with a little bit of
deserves.
order.
But he was just really funny. I was like, that's a funny, unique alien. Like when Jacob pointed on the last episode, it was a dinosaur with a mohawk shooting.
Dude,
That was
hilarious.
hilarious.
It's literally just a dinosaur.
It's just a dinosaur.
It's just a dinosaur. But it's funny.
It
It's
wor-
so good.
Yeah.
It's not like a
Um,
weird humanoid thing we've seen.
We forgot to talk about it last episode. This is just me speaking, thinking out loud. I got to talk about Brotherhood at the end of this episode.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
you
you
forgot. So they're on the planet. Obi-Wan hallucinates seeing Anakin, and then we meet Freck, and Freck gives them a ride. And I like that they've made this whole story about being father and daughter, and that they're
Mhm.
farmers from Toll and all this stuff. And
We're
then
We're from Toll.
Freck goes and picks up some stormtroopers. And
Yeah.
Freck is very, very friendly,
He's very pro-Empire.
very pro, which is funny
It's
because
nice to see good, like-minded people around this area. That reminded me so much of like political commentary, and that's all I'll say about that.
Which
I
is
just
true.
thought that scene was just hilarious because it related so well to real life.
Yeah.
For that like second.
and that's true. It's just what it is.
It is what
But
it
we will.
is.
That's all we'll say.
That's all. We'll keep it.
But so he gets with the stormtroopers, and you can tell that he just like they know. All the stormtroopers know he just does whatever. Like, he'll just do whatever they tell him to do, and that's great. You want people like that when you're running an empire. But they start to get on Obi-Wan's case, and they're giving their story, whatever, and they give the sob story that the mother has died and all that. And then Obi-Wan calls Luma Leia.
And I went,
Leia.
And I even, like, every time I watched it, I went, like, I was like, oh, no. And then the stormtroopers catch on to it, which was cool. I like that the stormtroopers weren't
You called her Leia! You said her name was Luma, and everybody said...
I like that the stormtroopers weren't bumbling idiots, like, too much in this episode. I
agree.
they actually seemed pretty competent, which was a nice change. They also, like, a little bit, though, reminded me of the scout troopers from the season finale of Mandalorian.
It's nice to see, okay, because we know these guys are all enlisted. It's nice to see that they're, like, literally just normal people. Because that's the thing with clone troopers. Clone troopers were, like, bred for combat soldiers. These are just fellas that went to high school, have best friends, have ambitions, and now they're just in the Empire. So it's nice to see that these guys, although they all look the same, it's nice to see that they speak with personality.
Yeah. So when Obi-Wan says the line to Leia where he says, or he's talking to the stormtroopers, that when he looks at her, he sees her mother's face, that's totally him talking about Padme.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely thinking about Padme when he says that to her, which made me sad. And then after all the stormtroopers get off, Obi-Wan and Leia have a moment, and Leia,
are you my real dad?
asks him if he's her real father, and that that broke my heart, man.
scary guys, your father.
I wish I could say I was, and I was like, oh man.
Yeah, it was very sad.
But it was a nice little moment, and I think it's good that Obi-Wan has not given any inkling that Anakin is Leia's father. I like that that's going to stay a secret. It doesn't break canon in any way. I like that Disney didn't go ahead and try to just make it so that, oh, Leia knew all along, you know?
I agree. I think that's a good
she's
detail.
a girl boss.
Flower power! She knew!
Powered by bitch
Material girl!
I hate those bumper stickers that say powered by B-Dust. They're so dumb. Where were we? Can we just fast forward to where Stormtrooper literally gets sliced in half?
Yeah, so they get to the checkpoint, and Freck totally does them in. Got some strangers here. You might want to check them out.
You might want to check them out. And then they get the probe, and they're like Protocol 21 or whatever.
Dude, that was totally, like, very much, like, based off of, like, police officers. He's like, where are you coming from? And he tells him where he's coming from. He's like, step out of the vehicle. And he, like, gets on the radio and says, like, his little code. I was like, oh, that's totally, like, police officers.
Weren't all the clone protocols still made by... Rex mentions it in Rebels, how it's all still the Republic's, they just transfer it.
Yeah, and that's a reflection on, it used to be another real world analogy.
Yeah.
Back before, like, especially before 9/11, every police department, like local police department, had their own, like, they're called 10 codes.
Yeah.
Like, the biggest one, 10-4 means understood.
Yes.
After, like, 9/11 and all these agencies, like, nowadays with technology and the internet, all these agencies need to work together a lot more. It was confusing. They would say, like, a 10 code, and half the people would do one thing and half the people would do another. So now there's just a universal code for 10 codes in every state, I want to say. I don't think countrywide, but I know that in every state there's the same 10 codes for every police
I
department.
didn't know that.
Very enlightening, Tommy.
Thank
the
you.
Stormtrooper getting cut in half, I felt so bad about, because when I was just trying to keep up with the Discord and at least see what people were talking about, and I accidentally clicked on Kenobi spoiler,
Oh, man.
and all I saw was Fig Fury say, yeah, R.I.P. that one trooper getting cut in half, and I went, ah! And, like, I immediately, like, got out of, like, my phone.
You know,
not your fault, Fig, that's my fault. Just saying that.
I thought the Book of Boba Fett having Din Djarin slice that Klatooinian in half was going to be like just a fluke of violence that we see in Star Wars now. And I knew that this show was going to be a little more mature than some of the other stuff we've seen from Star Wars recently, but that was the first moment where I was like, oh man, like this is...
My jaw dropped when that happened.
Mine did too, because we're so used to not seeing it in Star Wars at this point that when we do, it's like... You know, we're back to what we saw in like Attack of the Clones, where you watch Jango Fett get decapitated.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, something at Disney with their business model must have changed, because obviously we see Din Djarin slice that dude in half. Moon Knight had a lot more blood than a Disney production has had in a while.
Yeah.
And then we get Multiverse of Madness, which not going to spoil anything from that, but there is some good violence in that shocked us when we saw it, because we were like, this is very un-Marvel-like and un-Disney-like.
So I think it really came with the fact that the policy change happened when they decided to implement
you're right.
the child stuff on Disney Plus, so that way they could start moving into more violent content, because they've realized that there is an audience of people that love these franchises that want to see things get a little bit more gritty. Now, I must say with Star Wars, I hope that they don't overdo it with this. I hope it's like just like a Kenobi thing, and maybe we'll see like a little bit in Andor, because I don't want it to become the norm. I don't want the hyper violence to become a norm. With
I get what you mean.
The hyperviolence is too much.
Because it's really cool for like what we're seeing in Kenobi, especially because this is like a more mature show. But if I want to watch something hyper violent, I'm gonna go watch John Wick, because they do it and they do it amazingly.
It's not Star Wars brand to be hyper violent. That's not what people have always watched Star Wars for.
Yeah.
So I do know what you mean there.
But it's nice that they are giving us a taste of like the true like nature of what is happening with high powered lasers and things like that in Star Wars.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're doing it's probably just going to be for Kenobi. It really will be, unless they do. Like
I think the live action shows will continue to be a bit more violent, and then the animated shows will keep it a little bit more toned down.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, the Clone Wars was extremely violent, and the Bad Batch has proven to be pretty violent as well. I think that the rating thing...
If it has wars in the name, it might be pretty violent.
I think that the rating thing just comes more from... There's a difference between seeing it as a kid when it's animated and then seeing it when it's real people, you know? And I... Snapping necks and things like that.
Stormtrooper had a family and probably missed take your daughter to work day.
Hey, dude, that's his L.
That's facts. He
L
joined the
Empire.
Empire.
But so we see they try to identify Obi-Wan. We see that the signal just goes through from the probe droid, and Obi-Wan shoots the probe droid. Obi-Wan takes out all the stormtroopers, does not kill Freck, thank God. I want an action figure, by the way. Let me get a
If
Freck
we don't
Black
get a
Series
Freck action figure, I'm quitting the Black Series. I will sell my entire collection.
We need a Frog Lady, dude. I said this, and when I said it, you guys were like, no. But no Frog Lady Black Series.
I just know it'll be a deluxe, which is going to be dumb. But if they do aliens from...
Well, it'll have her egg sack.
It would be a deluxe, but it would be I feel like it'd be fun, and then you can include Grogu with it.
Yeah, dude. Another Grogu.
With opening mouth and eating the egg.
But, we see the scene, and then a stormtrooper gets a hold of Leia. Obi-Wan just does the thing that we've always wanted to see characters do, where he goes to put his gun down and then shoots him.
Yep.
So, then a little carrier comes up with some stormtroopers, and then we meet a new character named Tala.
And Tala is actually a Jedi sympathizer, and she comes out in Imperial uniform and then guns down the 3 stormtroopers that are with her.
I love how they set her up to be like this big bad Imperial character, and then with the shot that they did where they panned up from her feet, and then she just shoots all the stormtroopers.
Yeah, I think it's interesting now to see that people care about the Jedi after all. Just because from the view that we've had, a lot of people weren't Jedi sympathizers to begin with, because they're like, oh, well, the Jedi tried to kill the Chancellor, so it was only fair he did that, you know, and all.
And she was Haja's contact. That was her.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool. That was actually the person he was supposed to meet.
Yeah.
Also, completely, when Kenobi goes to her place and he's like seeing the other Jedi who helped, which one was Quinlan Voss again?
Quinlan Voss is Orange.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Kenobi, you're looking worse for
So
wear.
this is super cool because, well, not cool, but
it retcons Dark Disciple.
This just tells me, this confirms to me now that the cinematic Star Wars universe
trumps all.
Is what is considered the main canon. Say whatever you want, like Legends canon, whatever. Now, for me, this kind of sucks because I read Dark Disciple, which was a canon book. And now in that book, spoilers for Dark Disciple, in that book, Quinlan Voss dies. Because there's a love story between him and Asajj Ventress. And Quinlan Voss, Count Dooku brainwashes him and turns him to the dark side and like uses him as like a slave to try to kill Ventress. And Ventress has to kill him.
Oh.
And then she ends up dying too. And that's how that's how the book ends. It's like a tragic love story.
Interesting.
And so now we see that didn't happen at all. In fact, Quinlan Voss is alive and well,
And a good
transporting
guy.
younglings
Yeah.
to and from the galaxy.
What if we see Quinlan in this series?
That's what I mean.
That would be cool.
That's interesting.
But I thought that was super cool, and they only called him by his first name.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was very cool.
But there was also so we get to meet Ned B, who I also like a lot.
I want to see Ned
The
B
loader
smash
droid.
somebody with a hammer. He
Yeah.
almost did.
he went.
He's just a loader.
He got the blicky on.
Doesn't
My man was
understand.
twitching. He was like,
I'm just itching. I'm just itching to do it again.
there will be a Black Series of that. There's
There
no
needs to
doubt.
be a Ned B Black
Oh,
Series.
did you see? There's a Tika Black Series figure coming out.
I don't believe
Yeah,
that's
The
real.
Jawa.
I need
I
it.
cannot believe that. Is
Give
real.
it to me.
As much
Give
as
it
Zach
to
will
me.
post about it, I don't think we're gonna get that Jawa.
Except for the fact that his cart is literally in two of the pictures that we see on the
But
side.
what if it's just a background picture for some reason?
No, it's in the foreground.
Jackson.
It's, in front of the legs
It's
of the
in
two
front of
wizards.
people. We're getting Tika.
I'm sorry, man.
We're getting Tika in his cart, and maybe a bottle of Suave in the cart.
Hey, I'll buy it. You know, I'll buy the
the
figure.
toy?
I think it's gonna be it's gonna be dope. Oh, the Lola toy.
That would be cool.
But yeah,
I want the Lola toy.
which by the way, we forgot to say Obi-Wan fixed Lola for Leia.
I was talking about the T-21 speeder.
Oh, the
like if
Skyhopper.
The Jawa, Skyhopper, pardon me. But yeah, no continues.
But yeah, that's-
Lolabot fixed. That was good.
Yeah, but
I like the robot.
But no, we already kind of mentioned the stuff with Vader when he gets introduced and things like that.
we see that whole sequence, and I like though that Tala is kind of explaining like how the rebellion is starting and how like there are people that are trying to help the Jedi Code survive and all this stuff. And I don't know. I like this whole sequence where you're learning about the roots of the rebellion, and you're
Yes.
learning about the fact that they call it the path. It's like the underground railroad for Jedi. Now, let me just say, I've seen some people complaining online, and I know that we'll get into another thing that people are complaining about,
Okay.
but I've seen people complaining online that that Disney is making too many Jedi survive Order 66, and it was supposed to be this well thought out plan and blah blah blah. The way I look at it,
There were thousands of Jedi, and now there's maybe 100.
if you think about and again, real world stuff, if you think about how like well thought out like the Holocaust was and how many people died in that, and yet there were tons of Jewish people who still lived and got away. Like, that's the comparison that I'm making. It's like
Tom,
let's
you're
not
about to
make
get
that
Gina
comparison.
Carano. You're about
Let's
to
not
get
make
Gina
that
Carano.
you guys aren't getting the point that
No,
I'm
I
making.
get what
No,
you're
we
saying,
get the
but just,
point.
like-
You're about to get Gina Carano, though.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
That's not the point that I'm making.
I understand, Tom.
We understand, but I feel like that's not appropriate. But no, I totally understand what you're saying. With hundreds of battalions of clone troopers, it's only plausible that a bunch got away, because by the time Luke is alive, no Jedi have stable communication. So that's why Ahsoka and Ezra can exist in the same timeline as Luke. Because how the hell is Ezra supposed to know that Luke is out there somewhere and he's like supposed to be this supposed chosen one?
Everybody's
And
trying
how
to
do all these
hide.
people know that they exist in the first place without the unified rebellion?
Mhm.
And even then, Jedi are still hesitant to do that.
Mhm. It makes sense as to how they can't get everybody, but the fact
Yes.
that the Jedi Order went from literally thousands of Jedi to there being like maybe less than 100 to 100.
I think that's a perfectly plausible idea. I really do not care if people are going to complain about that to begin with.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, we shut you down, Tom.
Yeah, no, I guess where
didn't-
I was and you guys were just was not connecting. I guess.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Oh well.
All right,
happens.
But
guess I'll just not talk.
yeah. Now be quiet.
What was the other thing that you want to say people were complaining about online? Were you going to talk about Moses Syndrome,
People
or
were
did you
just
beat that with a stick last
Taking a
episode?
dump on the fight between Vader and Kenobi.
What?
Like people, I've just seen constantly.
didn't see
People are
that.
saying that. I've seen it everywhere, dude. On TikTok,
Really?
especially, people are just saying that this episode was mid, and that the fight was mid, and that Obi-Wan should have put up a better fight, and like Vader should have walked through the fire and killed Obi-Wan, and blah blah blah. And I'm just sitting there. There's so much that like we can unpack.
Have you thought about maybe the fact that Anakin Skywalker, like sand, does not like fire anymore and might not want to go anywhere near it?
He also wants him to suffer. He doesn't want to kill him immediately. There's no point in that. If he wants to make Obi-Wan suffer and feel the same pain.
Also,
Like, although he got away, he's like, That's cool. I'll
Mhm.
just find you again in another episode.
Also, Obi-Wan hasn't done anything with lightsabers or the Force in 10 years. Now think about if you start playing trumpet in 5th grade and you didn't touch that, Joan, for 10 years. Yeah, you might be able to toot out a couple notes, but you ain't gonna be playing it like Mozart. You're gonna be like...
Mozart did definitely never play the
He's a
trumpet.
musician. It doesn't matter. I don't know. Louis Armstrong. Let's just go with him.
Okay.
But no, it's dumb if you're gonna be like, oh, it's not like fighting in episode 3. We're not gonna get it, and we're never going to get fighting like that in Star Wars again. As soon as you can accept that, you'll like everything else. As soon as you can accept the fact that we are no longer in an era where people are sitting down with nothing better to do than to figure out different fighting styles and different ways to perfect the art of lightsaber combat. And then you have somebody that was the best duelist turn to the dark side, and then people continue to figure out how to be the best duelist. And all those people are now freaking dead. Yes, you're just going to get people that know basic attacks, and that's what we're going to see in the OT. And that's what we're going to see in the sequels. Because people don't know the stuff anymore. And stop complaining about it, because we're never going to get it again. So please be quiet.
Off his soapbox.
I'm stepping off my soapbox, and I'm taking a sip of water.
That's fair. No, but it's like what Tommy was saying. Obi-Wan has like genuine fear in this situation. He doesn't want to kill Anakin. He's horrified at what he's created.
He also knows he can't.
Failure.
This is
What
Vader.
have you become?
This is Vader at his like.
What you've made me.
Vader's at his peak, and Obi-Wan is at his lowest point that he's probably ever been.
Yes.
And not just like fighting wise, emotionally too. Obi-Wan is not in an emotional state or a mental state to fight Darth Vader. Darth Vader's been waiting for this moment. And with the dark side, he is using his hatred to his advantage.
He's more powerful.
And yeah, he just absolutely he wipes the floor with Obi-Wan and
When he drags him through the fire,
Yes.
I was like, oh,
My mouth dropped. I was so shocked.
I felt something. I felt like my stomach drop. I was like, "Oh my god!" Like he's like burning him alive,
I
and
know,
he
I'm like-
drags him through it.
Yes.
and hearing Ewan scream for that, such a good performance. So well
Yeah.
done. That I feel like, okay, I was thinking about this before, and I was like, I feel like this doesn't feel like Obi-Wan. I feel like this doesn't feel like the character of Obi-Wan. And then I sat and I thought about it, and I was like, well, when I think about it, in the prequels, George Lucas wasn't focused on the acting performance. He was just focused on getting the shot right and how it fit the story. He didn't give too many acting criticisms. Now we're getting directors that are probably doing that a whole lot. So we're actually just seeing a better acting side of Ewan McGregor than we did in the prequels. And I feel like that's why I had a little bit of a disconnect when it first
Also,
started.
Obi-Wan is a very different person though than
Yeah.
he was in
Yeah.
Episode
I
3.
agree.
Mhm.
So I feel like you can't expect him to act the exact
Mhm.
same way that he
Mhm.
acted in that movie as well.
Yeah. Mhm.
I concur.
But, no, this is hands down next to Book of Boba Episode 5, probably my next favorite piece, like standalone piece of Star Wars media.
This like I said, right from the beginning, I said the show is S tier.
Mhm.
This has kept the show at S tier. Like
Yeah.
it is secured in the S tier position.
Like Book of Boba was really good, and then Episode 5 happened, and we saw clones again, and then immediately we saw Ahsoka, and we saw
Yeah.
Luke Skywalker, and I was like, this is everything that I want out of Star Wars. And then Kenobi is everything I didn't know I needed, and everything I didn't
Mhm.
know I want, but they're giving it to me anyway.
Yeah.
It's perfect in every way.
It's nice because it's a surprise. It's nothing I ever would have thought of needing to see, but
And
the
it's
fact that we're
still
getting it, it's awesome.
and it's still a new story as well. We don't know what's gonna happen.
Mhm.
You know,
And we
so-
still have time to see
I was-
flashbacks.
I was just saying earlier to a few people that I don't know, I feel like if this was a Marvel show, the next episode would be the finale. Because at the end of the episode,
Yep.
you have Leia getting caught, we can assume, by Reva at the
Mhm.
end, and Obi-Wan's going to Jabim to probably meditate and maybe get back to his stronger state
Mhm.
where he can fight Vader. And I feel like if this was like a Marvel show, like if this was like Moon Knight, this would be the episode before the finale.
That's the one thing I did not like about Moon Knight. That finale did not do that show justice. That show was super good until the finale kind of
Everything
killed
got
it.
resolved very quickly.
Yeah, too quickly. In my
And I think
opinion.
honestly that this show, like knowing that it has 3 more episodes.
Yes.
Wow, we really have time to get into like a lot
6,
more
7, 8,
about
9, and 10.
and potentially even more. We have a lot of time to get a deep dive into Obi-Wan's character.
And
makes
just
me
the
really
events
happy.
after Order 66, because I feel like that is still a bridge we are still very much learning at this point, which is really,
We got
really
Bad
good.
Batch, and we got Kenobi, and we got Jedi Fallen Order, and now Jedi Survivor.
So I am just going to give this episode a 10 out of 10.
yes,
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do what I
love
did last time for Book of Boba and just wait to rate it till it's done.
it.
But I did thoroughly love this episode. It
Mhm.
was really good.
So I feel with that, I'm gonna talk about Brotherhood a little bit.
Yeah, go right ahead.
So Brotherhood takes place like right after Attack of the Clones. It was all right. There was one thing in the book that really, really bothered me. At the beginning of the story, they mention they're like Ki-Adi-Mundi he's banged up. He has scars on his face from encountering General Grievous. I'm like, oh, that's from Tarkovsky's Clone Wars. That's awesome. They're making it like canon in this book. It's another thing to nod to it being canon. And then Ventress is the main enemy in this, and Anakin has no clue who she is. I'm like, and he fights her. I'm like, okay, that is a glaring mistake to mention Tarkovsky Grievous fighting Ki-Adi-Mundi, but not therefore also acknowledging the fact that Anakin fights Ventress in that.
Well, that show isn't canon though.
I know, but so
isn't.
that's why I'm saying it was a problem. Don't try to make it canon at the beginning of the book and then disregard it at the end.
Well, the books aren't those books. We now know
Yeah,
those books don't
anything
have
in the
anything to
books
do with the
can be
cinematic
changed.
stuff.
There was that, and then there was also a part saying that Qui-Gon Jinn was there to see Anakin become a Jedi Padawan, and that
What?
was also wrong. That's even like wrong for the Phantom Menace. So there's like, if you can look past those glaring issues, the main story of it is about there's an attack on Cato Nemoidia, the Nemoidians' home, like the Trade Federation. Basically, half their entire city gets bombed, and their city is strung between mountains. So they just bomb the struts, and an entire like portion of the city falls, and like thousands die. So the entire thing is Obi-Wan is sent to Cato Nemoidia to figure out who did it, and he finds evidence that states that the Republic did it, but then there's this Nemoidian like special ops girl named Rug that finds evidence to say the Separatists did it, and it's like them working together to try to prove it. But Ventress obviously is like manipulating it the entire time, and Obi-Wan gets put on trial, and it's really good, and it also delves into Anakin's character. We see him having to go through the stuff that you go through like right after you become a knight, like having to like deal with younglings while not getting a Padawan. And he meets this girl named Mill who has like a very sensitive touch to the Force to people's pain, so she can like feel their pain, and sometimes overwhelming. So we see Anakin connecting to her with his pain about his mother's loss and not feeling like he belongs in the Jedi, and him teaching her how to deal with her like kind of special ability and what it means to be a Jedi. And then at the end she's like, I don't want to be a Jedi anymore, in front of Yoda, and he's kind of like, oh, what did you tell her, Anakin? But and then the book also delves really deep into how Anakin is just open with his emotions, and Obi-Wan can very blatantly see that there's something between him and Padme, but the only reason why he doesn't bring it up is because he was like, well, when I was young I had something for Satine, so maybe he'll grow out of it. So we see him being completely just setting it aside, which is kind of Anakin's demise. But
Interesting.
no, the book was pretty good. I feel like because it's like Moon Knight. The ending happens too quick. They're like, this place has been bombed. Obi-Wan's on trial. They find him guilty for destroying evidence that say that the Republic did it. And they go to put him in jail. Anakin arrives and saves him, and then they go back to the Republic. And then they just go back to the Republic, and Cato Nemoidia just takes an L, I guess. They're just like, it seems like in the end, it seems like there's somebody manipulating both sides of the war. We need to be careful. And that's the ending. There's like almost zero resolution.
L species, L Trade Federation.
And the fact is that Cato Nemoidia is kind of independent from the Trade Federation.
L Nation.
But no, it really didn't. It felt like a Stephen King novel. If you know Stephen King books,
they have a really good story and really crappy endings. So I feel like this book was just like, it was mid, if I'm gonna be honest. So, but I did like it a lot because it does kind of show a bit more of the relationship between Anakin and Obi-Wan past what we see in episode 2. And then at the very end of the book, we see the Jedi get their clone armor, like their armor for the first time that leads into the Clone Wars. And then we see Obi-Wan meet Commander Cody for the first time in like a throwaway line. But, oh, and they also said Commander Cody was wearing yellow. So,
well, phase one clone commander right at the beginning of this is right after episode 2.
yeah, so
Yeah, all the
probably-
commanders did wear yellow.
Yeah, so it's like it's probably
Okay,
not
so
like
that doesn't
divisioned
make
yet. But
Yeah.
No, so I think I honestly think that the book was just okay. I gave away a lot of the plot, but I mean, listen to it or read it if you want. Dexter's in it, which is funny. I just think the book was mid. If I'm honest, but then again, I'm biased because I just finished probably the best Star Wars novels that there are, Thrawn. I'm coming right off of those, so my expectations for Star Wars books are like up here. But yeah, it was all right. I would recommend it if you are a fan of Clone Wars. It really just feels like one long Clone Wars episode in a book. There's a lot more politics to it though than action, but that's kind of like what the Clone Wars are. I don't know. I would recommend it just for prequels fans and fellas that like Obi-Wan, because the story really does focus on Obi-Wan, especially going into this show. It was a great time to release it. But yeah, if I were to give it a rating out of 10, I'd give it like a 6.7 to 6.5.
Okay.
It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. So that's my little review of Brotherhood. You can find it where most books are sold and on like Amazon and things like that.
And on military bases. I saw it on bases when I was there, actually.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. So it says after that, it says, do we have this or are we just skipping?
No,
it?
if there's
Okay.
nothing there, just
Okay.
skip it. Yeah.
Skip.
Okie dokie. Well,
Talk about Lego.
yeah, Lego time.
Lego news.
Lego.
We got a leaked image of the ATTE. It's really blurry and really crappy. We have that, and we also have a leaked image of Phase 2 Commander Cody, which I'm really excited about. These sets look like they're going to be awesome. And the N1 Starfighter Lego set came out June 1st. I haven't been able to find it anywhere, so people probably got their grubby little hands on it before I could. But no, I'm looking forward to grabbing that set. It looks very cool, very nice. And we'll probably have a review or something about it when we get our hands on it.
Sweet.
Yeah. Are we going to talk about...
That or that. Second or first?
No, there's nothing new for Hot Toys.
No.
Okay.
no.
All right. So then Wax Series. We have there's a new Obi-Wan figure. It's him wearing his blue shirt.
Target exclusive.
Target exclusive. I think it's I noticed this when I was looking at the figure. It's literally the exact same figure as the other Obi-Wan, just the shirt is painted different.
But this is what should be a Target exclusive.
Yeah.
though.
Yep.
Like it's a variant of Obi-Wan that you don't see as much as you see his main
Mhm.
look.
Yeah.
I still got it because I like it.
Mhm.
I pre-ordered it
Yep.
just so that it would go get canceled later.
Mhm.
I pre-ordered the regular kind of Jedi fit Obi-Wan, and then we also got a new Vader figure.
I got
which
because I don't have a Vader.
I got as well because I was like, okay, after watching that episode, I want a Vader figure.
I pre-ordered it
Mhm.
too.
There's minor differences between any other figures that we have. The one thing I'm kind of like bummed about though is the helmet doesn't come off. That's what I really want. I want a Hayden Christensen face scan underneath the helmet.
Would have been nice.
It would have been nice, but then again, let's be honest, we're gonna display the figure with the helmet on anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not that big of a deal. I would like to see that.
Just sad I didn't get to see his Sith toes
But he
in
don't.
action
Bro.
figure form.
He don't even got them anymore.
Chill.
Put those dogs away.
Put the.
But if
put
we
No,
can
his
do-
his robot feet have toes. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Mhm.
No, that's Fergalicious.
Jackson loves feet.
Stop.
He
If
loves
we can
them.
get into pickups for this week, something that came in for Tommy and I through Entertainment
Woo!
Earth was our
Finally.
Umbra Operative Arc Trooper.
Bam,
Super happy to get
bam.
this. It looks very, very cool compared to the Black Series one. This is going to stay on card for me as well as the rest of the Battlefront ones, just because it's the novelty of having the Battlefront figure, in my opinion. Just because it was so much fun playing as all these with all of them back in the day.
Yeah.
I like how they have the background is on Naboo.
Yeah.
Oh, that!
I just-
that is nice.
I just think it's weird that he's holding a DC-15 blaster rifle,
And you can't use that.
and he doesn't use that in game.
They just give him all the weapons, so I guess it's good if you want to display it, and then you have all the other clone weapon types to begin with.
And he has 2 trigger finger hands.
Ooh, I just saw that.
Interesting. But what I also noticed is that this guy, his knee pads are not connected to his calves. So they made a new Clone Trooper mold, and now all the Clone Trooper TVC figures, their knee pads connect to their thighs.
So they did it wrong.
They changed it to do it wrong, like the Black Series does.
Dang.
Weird.
And then we also got the TVC droids figure. This is the last figure that we had in our droids line, so now we have them all with the coins. Very cool. It's literally just an R2 mold with less paint.
I have another pickup here. I'll bring it up to the camera. I got a new phone case, and so I had an OtterBox case for the longest time.
I saw this case. This was revealed
This is
at
very
Celebration. I was thinking about getting the same one, and now I don't want to because I don't want to twin with Tommy because I don't want to.
But check that out,
Don't want us
guys.
to be
It's
little
from,
lovers.
it's from a
That's
company
so
called
dope.
Casetify.
Yeah, Caseify.
Um,
All their cases are 60% recycled plastics.
yeah,
It's kind of like their big thing.
but
but,
super cool. I mean,
who?
it's in like the
Caseify.
Ass.
dang, but it's got like a
No! Not the hat.
it's got like a rubbery texture on the outside, so it's grippy,
Let me feel it.
and it also is bouncy if it falls on the floor. So
That's pretty cool.
yeah,
Yeah, it's. I
Can I
think it's
feel it too?
rated for a 6-foot drop radius.
yeah. I think
I like the vinyl back though.
yeah,
That's nice. I
they're
like
really
that.
nice, and I think that the case will hold up well.
Mhm.
I have my cases go through a lot of wear and
I
tear.
like how
so.
your case feels like the opposite of mine. It has the vinyl sides and then a grippy back, and yours has grippy sides and a vinyl back. Very funny. But no, solid cases. They also have some other ones. I know they had for the newest iPhone, they had a aluminum set. Aluminium one that had the Millennium Falcon on the back. That looked really cool.
Very nice.
But I don't think they have it anymore. I think it was a Celebration exclusive. Just like that Frog Lady plush.
Man, if anybody can find me that for a reasonable price or for free,
Frog.
I'll take it.
But I feel like that's all we have for today's
I
episode.
agree.
Me too.
Me
too.
Nice Kenobi heavy episode as it should
Yes.
be.
We hope you're
Kenobi.
enjoying Kenobi as much as we are.
Hope you
I
love
got
it.
I got the hyper real Darth Vader figure on the table for today.
Sweet.
Just for I just want to take a second to praise this figure. These figures are really good. I'm kind of sad that they flopped and
Because they were
Hasbro's never
so
gonna,
expensive.
They were for $30 getting this at Ollie's. I am like over the moon. It's so good.
Was 80.
Yes,
was
was
80.
80.
I
So
know.
are you going to spend the 80?
No, I would not. I don't. Well, it depends. It really depends.
like a
if they did a clone
mini
trooper,
Hot
They did a
Toys.
hyperreal Thrawn. Oh my god.
don't give me fantasizing and salivating, Jackson. If they did a hyper real clone trooper, it
If
would,
they do a Thrawn Hot Toys for Ahsoka.
Damn.
And with that,
that is all for today's episode. Please make sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel because at 500 subscribers, we are giving away either your choice of Bad Batch Rex or 212 figure. And then for the Patreon, next month, we're giving away that Ahsoka figure. Hope you're excited. Join the Patreon if you haven't already, if you want to support us above and beyond. Thank you for those who ordered your shirts. They will be coming soon. Thank you for being patient. We really appreciate you. So please leave a like, leave a comment on this episode. If you liked this, tell us what you thought about the return of Vader and how he is super brutal and super awesome. Also, if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And that is all for today's episode. We appreciate each and every one of you for sticking with us this long. Have a great day.
Goodbye, everybody.
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Hum da da hum da da hum dum dum da. Hum da da hum da da dum dum da dum da ba do ba do ba do ba do ba do ba dum ba ba dum ba dum ba do ba dum ba do ba dum dum. Hum da dum hum da da hum dum 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 dum. Hum dum da dum hum da da hum dum da da. Hey, I'm da da dum da da dum da.
Ba-da-ba-da-dum, dum, dum, ba-ba-da-ba-da.